Welcome to the after show for God Friended Me. This is episode 8, Matthew 21. And we got Dad back on the sax, sailing with Sal, and we got some new boos in the house. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Blair's got a baby.
Ooh, come on.
You know, I might go into a freestyle about the whole episode. Y'all ready?
I got you on the beatbox.
God friended me, Matthew 6:21. We got new booze in the house, get me one.
Hey.
Why am I still single? Come on, God, help me out.
And don't forget about your girl on your right.
Hey.
What's going on, y'all? Yes. We had to do a little of that on behalf of Blair, and we love the fact that Brandon Michael Hall is a beatboxer. I tried. So, and we got you freestyling. We tried here for y'all.
How did Brandon do beatboxing so
Oh, he broke
handsomely?
it down.
Right.
I was like, when I first seen it, I was like, oh gosh, how is this gonna work? And he was like, and I said,
And we were like, oh, okay, got that
like
slick
that.
Rick.
He's way too talented. Like, I just...
Mina's serious. Did y'all see it?
I can't.
And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, then you should be following the guy who plays Miles,
Yes, head on
the
over to
show.
Instagram and follow Brandon Michael Hall and see his second to last post so you can watch him beatbox, which is what we
Yes.
tried to have fun with. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is episode 8, Matthew 21, and we have so much to talk about. We're going to talk about Dad getting back on the sax. He's playing again, and we're talking sailing with Sal. We got some interesting friend requests. Also, we got some new boo energy that has come to a head up in this place. And we want you guys to stick around for our special segment because we all have something to share where God spoke to us through social media. Although it's not from the show, God still speaks through social media in our everyday lives.
Yes.
And we got some fan shout outs. So make sure you stick around, but let's jump into this thing. I'm your host, Jaimi Alexander, and
Hey, everyone. I'm Mina Wahab.
And I'm Rochelle Pollard.
Your favorite Afro-Latina, Franceli.
all right, you guys. So Matthew 6:21. I did write down the verse, and I should have it memorized. Lord, forgive me. For where
So
your
right.
treasure is, there your heart will also be.
Amen.
And I mean, no matter what, that should make sense to everybody. It just makes sense. What's within your heart is, where you'll find your treasure. So
Yeah, your riches.
exactly. So what did you guys think about the episode as a whole?
Ooh, can I go first?
Sure. Yes.
Coach, put me in. So, hey guys, it's so good to be back. I hope your week was blessed and highly favored.
Amen.
But it's so fitting for tonight's episode to be titled Matthew 6:21 because they did go on a treasure hunt this week, and it was about finding the root of your traumas, and it is. Out of what lies in the heart is what you see in the fruit, And so it was just so telling. And then, everything that happened, we got to see what was really in Kara's heart, although we knew all along, but she's been trying to play herself, and she got to see that. And again, as we go on talking about the episode, but in general, it's like we really did go on a treasure hunt to see everyone's heart in each of their situations. Dad with, still having his heart for the love of his life, but having heart now for a new situation. I mean, all of it was about seeking heart. And so I really, really enjoyed tonight's episode.
Right.
Yeah.
I just thought that it was so interesting to see the responsibilities of the God account from the living, the dead, and the unborn. So I thought that was really interesting.
wow.
Girl,
I like it. See how you wrap that thing out.
I was thinking on that hard. I had it written down.
Ooh, that was good. That was good. We might have to stop right there.
Come on.
All right.
But what did you guys think about it?
Yeah, I can't top any of these answers. No, I can't think because I was so emotional.
Yes.
My eyes are red right now, but I was crying the whole time because I just think it's so emotional when you don't necessarily get the closure that you need because the person that you needed the validation from or the words from is passed. So that's something that you have to come to terms with on your own because you're never going to get it from that person. And just that idea alone, I know people it's happened to, and it's one of the most painful things anyone could ever go through. So that hit me the hardest. Not the relation stuff with relationship stuff with Kara, I was like, okay, girl, like, that's your fault. Like, that's his fault, too. Like, whatever. But, like, the stuff where it's like, there's nothing you can do about it anymore, and you have to come to terms with it on your own. That's what hit the hardest in this episode. And it was by far the most emotional episode I have ever watched on the show. Every episode makes me tear up a little bit in a sentimental way, but this one completely destroyed me. So good writing, guys. Good job.
Yeah, shout outs to the God, Friend, and Me writers. I mean, I think relationships with dads are really hard. I think, you know, my dad passed when I was 20 years old. And there's a lot of things that I had to come to terms with on my own through my relationship with God, because that person isn't physically here anymore. So I think my dad dying is what brought me closer to God, because it's like, well, I got to talk to somebody about this.
Yeah.
And a lot of times no one in the physical world can understand what it's like to lose a parent unless they've lost a parent themselves, you know? So yeah, death will definitely will bring some things up for you.
Can we talk about how weird this is? Okay, so I never had the opportunity to meet my biological father, and literally today I took a nap and I had a dream that I went to his funeral, and that I don't know, I was just venting about it. And then today with the episode, I think that's the reason why I was trying not to really watch it when I was watching it.
Right.
But I think that's so weird right now. Like,
Wow.
and I was
how God works.
Yeah, I don't know. And then I was thinking about, I have a stepfather, well, no longer, and him and my mother and him, they separated, and he told me that, you know, I was no longer his kid after that. So this episode is really weird for me, because it's like I'm living it out, but I'm so curious to see now, like, what will happen in the future. But yeah, I just thought that was really, every week, this is so
I was gonna say, every week I
weird.
feel like we're in alignment in some kind of way, where
Yes.
something that comes up literally either speaks to the week or what's going on, or a conversation we've had.
Life imitates art imitates life. I really believe that.
That is, I don't know what y'all did, got friend of me, but I'm glad that we are here, and I guess in the future it's going to tell, and hopefully we all be able to experience it, and hopefully, you know, Miles, you can come in my life. And,
Did you just shoot your shot?
Wait, Miles.
Did you just use God for
hear
name to
Miles,
shoot
I
your
need your
shot?
help. We got to find my father.
All right.
Yeah, that's wild.
But yes, so what I love about this show, let's talk about the dad, Mr. The Finer, getting back on the sax, because we are talking about where your treasure is, your heart will also be. And this show also reminds me of everything being very purposeful and following your path and things like that. So what I'm seeing with dad getting back on the sax is it's a beautiful thing. I realize he had this hesitation because him playing was tied to someone who passed in his life. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have the skill or the passion or the beauty of, you know, what God put in his heart and the talent that he had. So what did you guys think about him playing again and then his hesitation, but then leaning into it?
I think it was so symbolic, because we were talking a little bit about this in a different context behind the scenes with Franceli, who is bringing up this concept of love languages and how you speak your love language in a different way. Like, it's either gifts or action or words of affirmation. And this isn't one of the love languages, but I consider a love language. I think music is a very powerful love language. That's why people will serenade you when they want to take you out, or like, it depends on like the situation. But with him, he talked about how every single note he played with love for her. And that was just like, oh my God, like the amount of passion and love you put into music, and the fact that music is a language in so many ways, and it tells a story that can be even more vivid than a story that you would tell with words. It's so expressive. It's a huge deal to do that again when the association made with the music was directed towards one person. Because when you think about it, music memory is one of the strongest forms of association. It's kind of like the power of smell. When you smell something and it takes you back in time, like, oh, I remember this when I was a kid. Music is even more powerful. That's why, how many times can you not listen to a song because it reminds you of an ex? Or like, you listen to a specific song and you're like, oh my God, this reminds me of my dad, or this reminds me of my mom, because music is so powerfully linked to people that scene in and of itself was so powerful.
It can literally, I'll listen to a song and I can remember the place, the time, what I had on, you know, like, though it really is, it does that. It really is that powerful. And you're right, music is a special language. It's the alignment. A friend of mine just came into town whose wedding I was in as her bridesmaid, and she plays the sax. And as her vows, she played the saxophone to her husband. And here they are 10 years later, still married. She's a pastor. He's a pastor. They got 4 kids.
Wow.
Shout out to the Butlers and the Brooks. So yeah, I mean, for me, but I feel it's so important too about the father-daughter relationship because, you know, sometimes it's really hard for a daughter to see her dad move on per se, but she was so supportive about his healing and his moving on and still respecting her mother and what they had together and was just like, she's a fox. Like, you know, from the beginning, it was so like, this is great for you. And I know you had this special thing with mom and you'll never not have that special thing with mom. And so I think that, again, the other most important woman in his life being supportive of this is what really kind of like tipped it over for him. And so that was really beautiful for me to watch too.
But I also think that was like a huge testament to his character because how many men like they lose their wives and then they move on with someone else like that?
Girl, they even gotta lose their wife.
No,
Oh, Jesus.
I'm totally serious though. So I think it's a testament to his character. He was so loyal to his wife that passed to the degree that his kids are like, Dad, come on. It's time for you. You can be a little selfish. And it's just a testament to like how he's so loyal, how he was so in love. And sometimes it's incredibly hard to let that go no matter how many years have passed because you never want to feel like you're replacing the love of your life, but it's just a different type of love that will blossom in its own way.
Yeah, and it's beautiful because that gives it this space to evolve. So she gave him permission to move forward and make that, you know, make that step, and, you know, now he can do that. But we want to jump in to share something with you, AfterBuzzers.
Oh, yes. Hey, AfterBuzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to serve their television fans than us right here. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. So let me tell you something. If you're worried about those pesky little notifications, look, don't be, because they're optional. So hit the subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments. So we'll thank you on the air. We'll give you a little shout out. You know what I'm talking about? So thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV Talk.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And please stick around to the end of the show because we want you to join in our special segment, God Speaks, where God has spoken to us through social media. And we have some fan shout outs, so make sure you stick around. Ooh. So we definitely want to jump into our next topic and talk about Sal and Alfie. Because first there was this confusion, like there's a problem. The person who is on here now is no longer with us. So how are we going to solve this issue? Then we meet Alfie and all these things. What do you guys think about the dynamic between Sal and Alfie and kind of how Alfie's story unfolded?
Ooh, can we talk? Can we just really talk about generational curses in a particular way, you know, and just how like trauma and the seeds that are planted and how they affect, it literally does affect the next generation. Because here he is, a kid, essentially, because I feel like we all have the child on the inside of us that we're constantly either battling or bringing out to play. And so here's a man who has spent his life battling the child on the inside of him. He lost his dad at a young age, got this stepfather, lost his mom, you know, and is now trying to prove this dad wrong and be better than him because his perception was that this man didn't love him. So his whole life, he has been driven and motivated by a lie, you know, and the devil is a liar. We're very well aware of that.
Hello.
You know, and so again, that's what lies will do to us. And so the truth shall set you free, you know, that truth being revealed to him then set him free to break the chains off of this idea and this false script that he wrote in his mind that he's not capable to be a father. And so, boom, break the chains, break every chain in this episode, Lord. And you know, it was just, again, it's sometimes corny and cheesy how they're at the right place at the right time and this, and how it all wraps up in a ribbon. But again, what we must hold on to is that, you know, God's timing is perfect. Your steps are ordered and they're already made for you. And, you know, his plans are to prosper you and not to harm you is what I felt about tonight. And so that's how I felt about Sal and Alfie, because Sal's plan was always to prosper him.
Preaching?
I love that. I know. It's like
Like, it really was Sal's plan to prosper him. He may not have had the right love language. Alfie probably needed words of affirmation and physical touch, and Sal didn't know how to do that. He was gifts. He knew how to provide and give money and send him to the best school to give him the best future. And again, your perception and how you receive love, he didn't receive the love of a father that he always needed, so he didn't think he could give that. And the gift that Miles is, and I can't wait till they get to a place in the show where Miles is like, this is God. Like, I just want it to happen already, because it really is God.
You're tearing up. What did you think about it? Talk to us, girl.
Yeah, what's going on in there, girl?
Don't do this to me. I'm a professional. One thing that was hitting me with that is just, I was having the same conversation last night, and we were watching the other show, Star, on Fox. And basically, just to wrap that up, the main character, she was pregnant, and she kept on pushing away the father, even though he really wanted to be a part of their life. And I was telling my roommate, I was like, I could see this being me because I didn't have that father in my life. Mm-hmm. So I'm like very scared to have children because it's just like I never had that father, and I don't want my kid to grow up like that. Mm. So I was just really thinking like, I wouldn't want to push away the man who, will be my father's child, but it's just like you're so scared. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's like something like a generational curse. So he would have to really assure me, and God would have to assure me that this guy, is going to be a father. But I was just thinking about that in this episode when he was really, excuse me, he was annoying me, even though the father, he was sitting there like, I don't know if I could be a father. But regardless if you had your father in your life or not, it doesn't help that you can try. You can try, to be the best, and, it'll work out on its own. But that episode, I didn't even know it was this deep.
So you got a word. God friended you in this episode. Right. Miles just was speaking right to you.
And because you were running the same way Miles runs all the time.
He sure does.
And
you see Miles?
Right, that's why you need
Miles,
him in your life.
We need you to just come on down to the panel.
This was a good episode. This was good. It was very purgeful.
Yes, the purging. Come on, Jesus. Won't he do it?
Okay, but what do you guys think about that?
No, everything that you guys said was so powerful. I think a lot of times, we do tell ourselves stories about certain events that have happened in our past in order to cope with them better. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes we don't realize that we're looking at things through a lens that's so skewed because we're the ones experiencing these things firsthand, that if an outside observer were to look in, they'd be like, wait, how are you seeing it this way? This is the objective reality. Mm-hmm. But we all come into things with these skewed lenses because of those experiences, that it's very hard to remove ourselves and to be self-aware enough to say, no, this doesn't define me. This is in my past, and I can choose how I'm going to react to it. And even when it comes to the issue of getting upset, we saw Alfie get upset several times throughout this episode, and I've talked to you about this, especially outside of the studio. I get upset a lot, but I went to this class where I learned that when you get upset, it's always because of one of three reasons. Either it's an unfulfilled expectation, so you assume things should be a certain way, and when they don't meet that, you become upset. It's a thwarted intention, which means that you intended to do something, but because you didn't do it, you've kind of let down yourself from what your moral obligation was, so you become upset. Or it's an undelivered communication. So you wanted to say something, or you wanted someone else to say something to you, but it wasn't said. And with Alfie, we can see all three of those things kind of come together in a very interesting way, where when it comes to the undelivered communication, all the things his father didn't tell him. When it comes to the thwarted intention, wanting to be there for his kid, but feeling like he's not good enough, so he doesn't do it. When it comes to an unfulfilled expectation, feeling like I can't be a dad, or my dad should have been like this, but he wasn't, and life's not fair, and he expects the world to be a certain way, but you can't have an expectation of something. The way things are the way things are. They're not good or bad, it's just what is. And once you realize that and you don't place a judgment on it, you can remove yourself from the situation, look at the facts, and then decide, this is how I'm going to be as a person. So there's so much going on with that.
Yeah.
Mina coming with it today.
Right. And I love that.
You guys,
yes.
all of you.
I would just have to say, too, I honor you guys as women and everything that you have to say. And, I'm even looking at one of the women in our show, Blair. I feel like with what you're saying, she was able to look objectively and let that man come on and walk into the room and hold the baby and be a father after disappearing for 6 months. Wow. She had the grace, the beauty, the understanding, the non-judgment. and the openness to allow him to heal.
Well, not at first, because the shade in her face.
Oh, that
When
moment.
when he walked in, she was like, "Oh hell no!" But yes, eventually grace and mercy came on in.
Of course, I mean that's so triggering. Like to see the
Yes.
person
Oh, yeah.
who's the cause of your pain.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not gonna just light up. You're gonna associate that person with so much negativity and be like, if I were her, I'd set guidelines. Like if you're gonna be in my life, if you're gonna be in this kid's life, never again. Because I think oftentimes as women, we're so forgiving and we're so loving that we let things happen even though we're strong because we don't want to punish people. We're like, okay, we assume the best. Oh, okay, like he'll be better this time around. Oh, okay, let me give him another chance. But it's so important to be firm, especially when you're taking into account a vulnerable person, which is the baby.
Right.
Like you have to have the best life for that baby. You need to put guidelines.
That's right. I love it. You see this? God friended me, got us talking about that real. Like,
we are fired up today.
I hope you guys are loving this. Please comment and share what you think and
Yes.
share the show if you're finding valuable insight and, enjoying the show all together. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. But I hate to move on from this because I love talking about Sal and Alfie and everything that he has going on. What'd you say?
She want to talk about the booze.
We're going to talk about these boos because we were upset.
Oh,
we walked in here. We walked in here like, what is going on? And why does Kara? So let's talk about it because
pull up the notes.
Yeah, pull up the notes because Kara is back with Eli, but she's being, as Rakesh would say it, oh, so you're doing the separate world thing. Like you got this over here, and you got Miles over here, and he just called it like it was and was like, yeah, that's what you're doing. It's okay. I see it. Thank you, Rakesh, for that, for letting Kara know what was going on. So she's dating Eli, trying to hide that, and Miles is just like, well, all right. He's acting like a very typical man about it, if you ask me. I haven't heard too much about it, but he's just like, well, I'm happy for you. You're dating. Okay, great. I got this right here. So what did you guys think?
Listen, it's messy. Ooh, but it's messy in a non-messy kind of way. It's so funny because it's not like, it ain't loving
hip hop.
Right. It ain't loving hip hop messy. But it's, it's like, oh my gosh, like for me, I was so over her. Like I was so mad at Cara. Like I was like, girl, get it together already. Like the fact that your boyfriend has to ask you, have you told the guy that you're just friends with about us? Like, come on. So like the writing's all over the wall, but she keeps running from it and pretending like she doesn't feel what she feels. And she's like, oh, he already has plans. I'm not going to bring him. Like, it's just...
She's playing it's the game.
It's a lot of games. And so for me, that's what makes it messy, And so... It doesn't hit you until you see him with somebody else.
Listen,
and what was that looking like?
Listen, I'm just saying, look, we grown. I mean, I'm only 26, but I was grown. I'm grown. And I'm all about shooting my shot. Now, I have hit a couple of bricks, you know what I'm saying? Right. But I'm still going to do it because I always think about what if. You know, if I like you and I'm just not going to let a day go past. I'm going to let you know I'm too grown. If I want to hit you up, I'm going to call you. If I want to text you, I'm going to let you know. One day he's going to find somebody else. He's not going to sit there and wait for you, vice versa.
But why is it on her to do it?
I'm not saying that it's on her.
I'm with you, girl.
Let the man feel, let it happen.
I don't want to be like outdated and say that, but it's so frustrating. Like Miles, like you have a girl here that is clearly into you. Does she really have to pursue you when she's made it abundantly clear? I am into you. She doesn't need to say it. Like, and I have nothing against a girl going after the guy.
Mina just played me.
And being no, I really don't have anything against having the girl go after what she wants, but when clearly that's not her personality and she's obviously on the shyer side or like more reserved, you should know that and go for it.
But I mean, she took that date. She woke up in that bed.
Right.
And she told Miles that we gonna see each other again. So Miles moved to the next.
Well, here's my thing. I'm the same way. I don't knock any girl out there who wants to go after what she wants. Personally, me in my house, I believe that the man is the hunter. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. So he got to find me. Whew, in Jesus' name. So, come on, find me.
This is when you got to drop the app so we can slide into the DMs.
Yes, and Miles was going to shoot his shot.
Yes, he was.
He was going to say, hey, there's this thing here. What do you think? And we all saw what happened. Mm-hmm. Eli just showed up.
Yeah.
And so, the stories, just like how he said in the podcast tonight, our stories, we don't think our lives are a story, but what happens when the story changes. Yeah. And I was so, like, again, the writing is so good because it is, the story changed, you know. The story was going a certain way. We thought it was going to be the predictable thing, like they got together, they're going to get together, but they're going to play a Ross and Rachel on us, and they're going to have us chasing them for a while, and that's cool. Y'all want to do that to us? That's cool. But that's what's happening. And so, but I think, I agree. She shouldn't have to pursue him.
Yeah, but she playing herself, because look at her. She
looking.
Her man, like, you want something to drink?
Deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If Miles wasn't in the picture, like, she really did love Eli and have feelings for him. But I'm a little torn. Like, I never know, like, does it make sense to give someone a shot who broke your heart in the past? Because I always waffle with that. Like,
I do.
Sometimes it's really hard because...
You a recycler?
That was her first...
You like to recycle?
Love.
Well, it's good for the environment, but I don't know about your heart. But what I think is there's two sides to this, because Cara also had a chance to. I mean, we know it's in the script, so God friend of me writers, y'all gonna do what you're gonna do. But at the same time, this moment too, when Miles was about to shoot his shot, Cara could have very well I'm sorry, if the past comes knocking on my door while the future is ringing the doorbell, it's gonna be. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, hey, Eli, what was you about to say, Miles?
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Agreed.
Power is in both hands, so I definitely think she's got to he should pursue.
Very enticing.
And I definitely think when you see what you want, go for it. I'm right there in the middle, playing devil's advocate. Like, men should absolutely lead and pursue. And he was like, and she got distracted. And for me, that was on her.
That's what.
But he told her to go for it. He said, "Yes, you should go for it."
I got a word coming out.
I got a word.
Word for
she gave me a word. See, that's what the devil will do. He can't. Let me tell you something. The devil can't take away God's promises on your life, but he can distract you. He can hit you with procrastination. He can do all of that. So he done distracted her from her destiny, which is mine. Come on now. That's a word on the day.
I disagree. I disagree in the sense that the minute I saw Naya, I was like, yes, this makes sense. The minute I saw Naya, I was like, this makes way more sense.
Yes.
It makes way more sense than Cara.
It does.
I was all for Cara until I saw the chemistry between like from the very first interaction. I was like, this makes way more sense.
It does.
But
it makes sense because
friendship.
she's an atheist too.
No, that's not why it makes
was a
sense.
vibe.
She said like the chemistry.
It felt like fate in the sense that what are the chances that the person who's the DJ that's like, oh, like who is this person covering up my pictures? Okay, it's her.
Right.
Like, what are the chances? That's fate.
Okay, you got it. Okay,
I mean, I absolutely love it. So you guys see, we're in deep over here, but we're going to move on to our special segment, God Speaks. Let me just hear from the heavens. That's right.
Well, there it is.
So God speaks
to the engineer.
Yes. God speaks to Miles through Facebook, but God speaks to us too. And we're going to share some quotes and tweets and things that we saw this week that felt like God was speaking right to us. So
we're gonna start with me.
Yes.
Okay, so if you hang out with me, you hang out with me at Selly Hangout. And every morning, shout outs to Source Messages, which is a great source of inspiration for me on Instagram. And today's is: the universe wants you to make today a self-serving one. Your mind and body deserve a day to get your full attention in the most optimal way. Be mindful of the overactivity, whether inside or out. Allow your body to be a reflection of the inner stillness you practice. We spend too much time demanding a great deal of ourselves, and don't make today one of those days. Be tranquil, be calm, be carefree. Make today all about you.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that.
I want you to share one too.
Okay, well, I didn't have a super great app like that, but the Shade Room says.
Shade Room. Wow.
Hey, God speaks through all types of mediums.
Through the shade,
here.
the light goes through the shade.
Like
a post that they did today was: things won't make sense when you're going through a mentally, physically, and spiritual transformation. Everything in your life is shifting. You are being upgraded. Something great will come out of it. Don't be afraid to overthink what's happening. Things will get better. Things will soon get clear. Believe. I thought that was a little positive, because a lot of things happen. You look at it perspective, and it's like, makes you feel bad and all sad. But everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason, and it's gonna be a better day tomorrow. So I
agree with that. I have one that I memorized from before. It's one of my favorite quotes. It's from Harry Potter, because I'm a Potterhead. But
God speaks to us through Harry Potter as well.
Actually, there's a lot of religious symbolism in that entire series. But one of my favorite quotes in the entire series is: "It is our choices far more than our abilities that determine who we truly are." And so I think that's very powerful because oftentimes people are like, oh, well, I don't have this in me and I'm not like this great, I'm not that. Sometimes it's not about how amazing you are. It's like, what path do you choose? What choices do you make? Because that is way more of an indicator of the type of person you are than what you are capable of doing. Because choices, I just think, in life are way more, like, they just demonstrate your thought processes and the things that you have the willpower to avoid and the strength to overcome.
Yeah, choices definitely have more weight to them, and you should have told that to Alfie on today's show. That was the perfect way to let him know it's not your ability, it's your choice to do this fatherhood thing. That's gonna
like maybe you
shift
don't
the
know what
gears.
it's like to be a dad, but like it is your choice to try to choose that path.
We love it. And so I'll just do mine. I saw something on Twitter and it was very simple. This spoke to me. I used to do a lot of spiritual group therapies, sisterhood circles, and all these types of things. And this word would come to me all the time. And at the time, I never felt like it was enough. I'm like, I need direction and it was just very simple. So as we can see, this message says, just keep going.
Wow.
Simple.
It's great.
That's it. Just keep going. If you keep going, then just like this show, God gonna send you another request, and then the show is just gonna go on and on and on, or whatever the situation is. If you keep going, things will keep showing up and happening, and life will allow, and it'll be all good. Just don't give up. Keep going.
Good stuff.
So thank you guys for listening to our special segment, God Speaks. We hope God speaks to you through social media in many different ways. But before we get out of here and before we talk predictions and get out of here, we want to give a shout out to the amazing fans. We love the Twitter page, God Friended Me. You guys keep it lit. So here's Yamar. God Friended Me is the best new show in 2018. Every episode makes me cry.
Sounds like me and Mina.
Yeah, I was
Right.
like, I think we understand that one.
Right.
So thank you, Yamar. And then Janelle Simone. Currently binge watching God Friended Me on CBS, and I love how this show is helping me believe again. I needed this show. Thank you.
Janelle, me and you, girl, me and you.
I was just going to say, Rochelle, that's, so.
It's the L.
Yeah, exactly. The beauty of it all, right? So we love what this show is doing. Thank you so much, CBS and the cast, crew, and everything the writers, everything that you guys put into it, because you're blessing people in such a beautiful and entertaining way, and we're just here for it. So do we want to do some really quick predictions before we wrap up?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Real quick, I do want to give a shout out to Nicole Faith, who shouted us out on YouTube. She said, I love how you all aren't afraid to get personal on the after show. So I don't know if you guys saw that, so I wanted to share that.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah, for me, my prediction is that things are going to get really messy, Like, there's just a lot going on. Rakesh is not getting his Facebook calls. There is a thing there between him and the coder girl. There's a thing between Cara and Miles. The DJ girl's going to pick up on it, just like her boyfriend's going to pick up on it. And how all that's going to unfold, we will see. But it's definitely going to be some messiness going down.
Yeah.
I think they're going to bring Uncle back. I don't think he's going to get his wife back.
Oh.
I think he's going to go to rehab.
Wow.
Rehab.
There we go.
Rehab for what?
I don't
Just-
know.
just
he
for,
has
like,
some
addiction?
problems. Yeah.
Okay.
They have rehab for stuff like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just liquor.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, they do.
Yeah,
The
they
behavior.
actually do.
Codependency, all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you need a little bit of help.
Okay.
So I think that might not be a happy ever after. After that.
Oh, okay.
My
Yeah.
mind was just on Uncle.
But that is, in a way, it is a happily ever after if you help yourself, because you have to help yourself before anyone can be with you.
That's
and a
good.
lot of people look for other people to be saved or to have that guidance, but that's when codependency happens, and you got to be full when you're with someone else. Like, the one thing that I never like hearing is like, I feel empty without you, because a lot of people think that that's romantic, but with me, I'm like, well, I want you to be full on your own before you want me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
whole.
Like,
Yeah, that's
I'm
good.
full. I want you to be full.
Yeah.
Then we can come together. So, I guess for me, I just want to see more with the dad. He's an incredible actor. This is the first time I've ever seen him because I don't watch Scandal.
Same.
And his voice, voice is phenomenal. It's this booming, beautiful, like radio sounding voice with
Shout
so
out to
much
Joe
authority.
Joe Morton.
His acting is perfect. It's like so
Yeah.
nuanced. Like, you feel every emotion he's feeling. Everything is so believable with him. And also, huge shout out to Brandon Michael Hall, because he is so endearing, so loving, and I just love seeing more of him, and I love how every single episode in God Friended Me ends with a podcast with a quote recapping the entire thing. It's just it's so cheesy, but it's like so much needed for me in my life right now.
I love it. So, I mean, and just for me, I think something different's going to happen with Miles. Maybe he's not going to take the assignment so quickly. Maybe he's going to get into some trouble. I think we're going to see a pivot in Miles' character. So I don't know what, but that's my little mini prediction.
You know, I think every single person that Brandon Michael Hall's character has helped is going to come back and help him in the final episode.
Well, that would be fun. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Please tune in next Sunday so you can watch the next episode with us. Same time, same place. Until then, I'm your host, Jaimi Alexander, and you can find me at Jaimi Alexander on Instagram.
And I'm Mina Wahab. You can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at Mina Makes Magic.
I'm Rochelle, and you can find me on Instagram or Twitter at RoachBaby. That's RoachBaybee.
Your favorite Afro-Latina. Hang out with me at all the things at Sally Hangout.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
Adios.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.